Your Chihuahua suddenly freezes. They stretch their neck. They start making terrifying snorting noises. And for a few seconds, it looks like they can't breathe. Many owners think their Chihuahua is choking. Some even rush to the emergency vet. But what if I told you that in most cases, it's something completely different? And knowing what it is could save you from one of the scariest moments you'll ever experience as a Chihuahua owner.
If you've ever witnessed your Chihuahua suddenly making loud, gasping, or honking sounds, you're definitely not alone. Reverse sneezing is one of the most common and misunderstood things that happens to Chihuahuas. It looks dramatic, it sounds frightening, but in many cases, it's completely harmless. Today, we're going to break down exactly what reverse sneezing is, why Chihuahuas experience it so often, what you should do when it happens, and most importantly, how to tell the difference between a harmless reverse sneeze and a real medical emergency, because those two situations can look surprisingly similar.
What is a reverse sneeze? Let's start with the biggest surprise. A reverse sneeze isn't actually a sneeze. During a normal sneeze, air is forcefully pushed out through the nose. During a reverse sneeze, air is rapidly pulled into the nose instead. That's why your Chihuahua suddenly makes those loud snorting or honking sounds. Their body is trying to clear irritation from the back of the nose or throat. Think of it like your dog trying to take several quick breaths through a tiny straw. It sounds dramatic, but most of the time, they're still getting enough oxygen. A typical episode lasts anywhere from 5 seconds to about a minute. Then it's over. Your Chihuahua often goes right back to playing, eating, or acting like nothing ever happened, which can leave owners wondering, what on earth just happened? Why Chihuahuas are more prone to reverse sneezing? Here's something many people don't realize. Chihuahuas aren't necessarily unhealthy. They're just built differently. Their tiny faces, compact airways, and delicate throats make them much more likely to experience reverse sneezing than many larger breeds. Imagine drinking through a narrow straw instead of a wide one. Even a tiny blockage makes a huge difference. The same thing happens inside your Chihuahua's airway. Small irritations can trigger a much bigger reaction. Some of the most common triggers include dust floating through the house, pollen during allergy season, strong perfumes, cleaning products, smoke, pulling on a collar during walks, drinking water too quickly, getting overly excited, sudden temperature changes, or even simply waking up from a nap. Yes, sometimes there isn't a dramatic cause at all. Your Chihuahua's airway is simply extra sensitive, and because they're such emotional little dogs, excitement itself can sometimes trigger an episode. Ever notice your Chihuahua reverse sneezing right after greeting you at the door? That's not unusual. Their excitement can actually irritate the soft tissues inside the throat.
What should you do during an episode? This is where many owners accidentally make things worse. The first instinct is usually panic, picking the dog up, shaking them, opening their mouth, trying to pull something out. But in most reverse sneezing episodes, none of that is necessary. Instead, stay calm, because your Chihuahua often takes emotional cues from you. If you panic, they may panic too. Many veterinarians recommend simply allowing the episode to finish naturally. Some owners find it helpful to gently massage their Chihuahua's throat. Others lightly cover the nostrils for just 1 second. This encourages the dog to swallow, which can sometimes stop the episode. Another gentle trick is softly blowing toward their nose, not into it, but toward the face to encourage swallowing. The key word here is gentle. Never force your Chihuahua's mouth open. Never stick your fingers into their throat, and never assume they're choking unless you actually witness them swallowing an object. Most reverse sneezing episodes resolve on their own within seconds, and afterward, your Chihuahua usually acts perfectly normal. When is it not just a reverse sneeze? Now here's the part every Chihuahua owner needs to hear. Not every noisy breathing episode is harmless. There are situations where you should contact your veterinarian immediately. If your Chihuahua collapses, turns blue around the gums, loses consciousness, has difficulty breathing even after the episode ends, or continues struggling for several minutes, that is not typical reverse sneezing. Another warning sign is frequency. An occasional episode every now and then is usually not concerning. But if reverse sneezing suddenly starts happening many times every single day, something may be irritating the airway. Possible causes include allergies, respiratory infections, dental disease, nasal mites, foreign objects like tiny grass seeds, or, less commonly, growths inside the nasal passages. Your veterinarian may recommend an examination to determine what's triggering the episodes. The important thing is this: reverse sneezing itself
isn't usually dangerous, but the reason behind frequent episodes might deserve attention.
Quick question. Has your Chihuahua ever reverse sneezed? How old are they? And what usually seems to trigger it? Leave a comment below. I read as many comments as I can, and your experience might help another Chihuahua owner who's going through the exact same thing.
The biggest myths about reverse sneezing. Let's clear up a few myths. Myth number 1. My Chihuahua is having an asthma attack. While breathing problems should never be ignored, reverse sneezing is different from asthma. The sound may be alarming, but the mechanism is completely different. Myth number 2. My dog is choking. Sometimes dogs really do choke, but reverse sneezing often starts suddenly without food being involved. If your Chihuahua quickly returns to normal afterward, choking is much less likely. Myth number 3. They're suffocating. This is probably the biggest fear owners have. Fortunately, during a typical reverse sneeze, dogs continue moving air through the airway. The sound makes it seem much worse than it usually is. That's why staying calm is so important. Your Chihuahua needs reassurance, not panic. Here's something fascinating. The structure responsible for most reverse sneezing episodes is called the soft palate. Think of it like a flexible curtain separating different parts of the mouth and throat. When something irritates this area, the muscles can briefly spasm. Those spasms create the rapid inward breathing that produces the familiar snorting sound. Small breeds like Chihuahuas often have narrower airways. That means even minor irritation can create much louder sounds than you'd expect. In other words, the noise doesn't necessarily match the severity. That's why reverse sneezing can look terrifying while actually being relatively harmless. But here's an interesting detail many owners notice. Some Chihuahuas go months without an episode. Others seem to experience them every few weeks. Why? Every dog has different triggers. For one Chihuahua, it might be spring pollen. For another, excitement during playtime. For another, pulling against the leash. Keeping a simple journal can actually help. If you notice patterns, certain seasons, locations, activities, or products, it becomes much easier to identify what might be triggering your dog's episodes. Sometimes, solving the mystery is as simple as changing from a neck collar to a well-fitted harness, or avoiding heavily scented air fresheners. Small changes can make a surprisingly big difference.
How to help prevent future episodes. While you can't always prevent reverse sneezing, you can often reduce how often it happens. Keep your home as free from dust and smoke as possible. Avoid spraying perfume or cleaning products directly around your Chihuahua. Use a harness instead of a collar if leash pressure seems to trigger episodes. Keep your dog at a healthy weight, since excess weight can put additional strain on breathing. And pay attention to allergy seasons. Some Chihuahuas become much more sensitive during certain times of the year. Most importantly, watch your own dog. No one knows their normal behavior better than you. If something suddenly changes, trust your instincts and talk to your veterinarian.
So here's what every Chihuahua owner should remember. Reverse sneezing looks frightening, but in most cases, it's harmless. Understanding what's happening allows you to stay calm when your Chihuahua needs you the most. Learn your dog's normal patterns. Recognize the warning signs that require veterinary attention. And remember, the loudest symptoms aren't always the most dangerous ones. Sometimes your tiny Chihuahua is simply reacting to a minor irritation in a very dramatic way. And honestly, being a little dramatic is something Chihuahuas have always been exceptionally good at.
If this video helped you understand reverse sneezing a little better, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Chihuahua videos every week. And if you want even more exclusive Chihuahua tips, health insights, and owner guides that I don't always share on YouTube, consider becoming a member of the channel. And visit my newsletter link is in description. Thanks for watching. Give your tiny best friend an extra cuddle from me, and I'll see you in the next video.